So unfortunately, there'll be 2 videos. So where was I? I was getting ready to rotate this. So let me just back out. I'm going to highlight this this base cabinet. This is the corner cabinet. I'm going to grab my rotate command. For you typers, if you just type in RO on your keyboard, it'll end up in the same command. Or you can click on the little half circle thingy. And what you're going to do is, rotate's weird in Revit, to be honest with you. You've got to kind of pick like a starting angle and an ending angle. So honestly, it doesn't really matter where you start because you can just type in 90 and it'll do 90. Out of good habit, since you guys are just learning the software, click one of the, horizontal or vertical orientations and then grab this thing at 90 degrees. Okay. And you can type in 90 and hit enter and it's just going to rotate it. Just until you guys get a little more used to it. Now we're going to grab our move command. And move is kind of a hassle. So I'm going to move it from that corner to that corner. Okay, so let me demo that move again because move is a little bit complex if you're just learning it. A lot of you guys just want to kind of grab move and then like click a spot over here and try to like get it where you want it. Move is what we call a to from command or from to command. We're going to hit this, and where do I want to move it from? I want to move it from this corner. Where do I want that corner to go? I want that corner to go right there. And if I constantly remind myself to go, where do I want to move it from? Where do I want to move it to? I'm never going to have any gaps or misplacements of items. So let's go back to 3D, see what we got. All right, cool. So we're starting to build out our kitchen, and I'm going to put this on realistic or shaded. And again, you guys are going to add windows and paint things and make it look better color-wise and all of that later. So come back to this. Again, just kind of repeating what I just did. I'm going to go back up to components. I'm going to go back up to load family. And now I'm going to start looking for what I want to do next. Okay, so let's just say I want to do a single door with a drawer. A single door and drawer. Okay, so there we go. I want to put that to the left of my corner cabinet. Now, I will tell you guys, cabinets always come in with the back of the cabinet being your insertion point. So without even looking at this is the back of the cabinet, this is the front of the cabinet. If you don't know that, you just don't know that, right? And you're not sure what the front is or what the side is. Just as a reminder to yourself, if you look at it, the cabinets always come in with the back being your orientation. So again, I've got to do this as a rotate. So I'm just going to click here, drag this up 90, and then I'm going to go move from this corner. Now this time I want it to come to that point right there. Okay. Now I'm going to look at this in 3D again, and you can start to see here, I'm starting to build out my kitchen a little bit more. Let's say I don't want that cabinet flipping that way. I want it to flip the other way. So I can actually just hit this left to right flip and look at it, and you'll see that now my cabinet handle is on the left-hand side instead of the right-hand side. So you can play around with orientations. If you happen to accidentally put the cabinet in and you put the door on the back side, you have this really beautiful button right here. That will flip it, and then you have to move it into place. Okay, so just know that does exist, that you can just flip the cabinet by using that little arrow. So I'm happy with that. I'm good. I'm getting ready to put in a sink base over here, and then I'm going to show you guys how to put in a sink. So again, just rinse, wash, and repeat the same thing over and again, right? So here we go. Now this time I'm going to find a sink. So right here, I've got a sink unit, double door sink unit. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in. Now this one, fortunately, is on the back. Now, unfortunately, it picks the middle, which is kind of hard for me to figure out where exactly it goes. But if you play around with it, you'll see that Revit wants to like snap it in the right spot. You can see it's on the wall, and it gives me that blue index line, and that shows me that I'm getting it in the right spot. So I'm going to look at this thing in 3D again just to verify my work. That looks good to me. Now, as some of you guys are probably noticing, my sink cutout isn't quite lined up with my sink base, and that's actually a problem. So we're gonna go through and resolve that real quick. So I'm gonna come into this, back to components, back to load family, and I'm gonna look at this and I'm gonna go, huh, interesting. I don't have anything with a sink here. So I got to back out of this, and I'm going to start actually looking for my sink. So if I come all the way back here, I can actually go to plumbing. I think this is where it is. Architectural, fixtures, sinks. And if I look at this, I got a kitchen sink. Kitchen island sink, kitchen sink single. Here's a vanity sink. There's a bunch of them, right? So I'm going to go ahead and grab, don't grab any of the ones that say 2D because they just don't have any 3D components. I'm going to grab a double sink just because I know it's bigger than I need it to be. So, oh, it's bigger than my cabinet. You know what? Let's do that. In case you guys want to do that. So I'm actually going to pop a sink in here that's much bigger than even my cabinet, and it's even bigger than like my sink opening. So this one's actually going to cause me a bunch of different things to have to show you guys. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to bring the sink in, and I'm going to use the sink hole that's existing, and I'm going to line the top and the left side up because that's a good orientation. That's a good spot for me to kind of index this. Now I'm going to look at it in 3D, and you guys are going to see here this is way, way wrong, right? So I got to do a couple things. I need to take this cabinet, and I'm going to need to figure out how to make that cabinet wider. And if I look here under components, I brought this cabinet in, and this is a sink-based double door. Well, right now it's a 30-inch, and obviously you guys can see that a 30-inch is just not going to be wide enough. So I've got to find one that's wide enough. So let me go to a 36. Oops. Let me go to a 36. And you can see it got a little bit wider, but it's still not wide enough. I'm actually going to go to like a 42 and see if that looks wide enough. Now, I'm going to look at this thing in 3D or 2D. You can see here my sink's only going one direction, so I actually got to move this thing over. So I'm going to grab my move command, and I'm going to bring it from that point back to this point. And we can see here it's still not wide enough to cover the sink. So this is a really obnoxiously large sink. I'm going to put this thing at 48, and we're just going to say that that's going to be this piece that works for that sink. I'm going to move this over, bring that there, and we can see here that that looks right. Now, what doesn't look right is that the sink isn't centered on the cabinet. So I can center it, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the align command, and I'm actually going to grab the center line, and I'm going to try to find the center line of that cabinet. So if I see here, boink. Oops, I did it backwards. I was supposed to move the, I was supposed to align to the center of the cabinet. So I'm going to grab the center of the cabinet, and I'm going to grab the center line of the sink. And you'll see that I did move the sink over. Let me repeat that again in case you guys missed that. So I'm going to grab my align command. I'm going to kind of just hover along the bottom line of this sink until I find the center line of the sink base, the cabinet below. That's where I want to align to. What do I want to align to that? I want this line, the center of the sink, to align to that. So once I do that, I'm going to look at it in 3D again just to kind of show you guys. Now I got my sink. My sink base is lined up, but you can see there I got a pretty bad little error happening, right? I got a sink hole that's not really cut in the right spot. So now I've got another problem. And if I just kind of like look at this, you can see it's just not going to be there. You guys can see that sinkhole is not in the right spot. So now I've got something that I've got to resolve. And how do I resolve that? That's a good question. So if I highlight this, I have an option here to kind of drag that sink over, but unfortunately, this is on top of that spot. So I've kind of got to play around with this to figure out, well, how do I get that to stretch over? So there's a couple different ways you can do it. Let me just show you guys what I think is the easiest way. The easiest way for me is I just use the move command, and I simply just move the sink out of the way. Okay. And I know it seems like we're kind of double working, but you'll see why I do this. Um, you typically can just take. Hold on. Normally that sink has like a little draw. Hang on. Normally there are like pull arrows on that sink. If there's not, I'll show you the other way to do it. And there's not. See how like these things have these little pull arrows? Normally it has pull arrows to adjust the sink, but for some reason this one does not have it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come into this, and I'm going to hit Edit Family. Oh, wait a minute. All right. Do I really want to go about it this way? There should just be an edit. Do I really want to go there right now? All right. So I'm just trying to think if I want to really get into like editing that family because it gets pretty complex. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna get into that right now. Okay, so let me just show you another route of doing this. It's a little more mathematical, but you'll this will make sense. So what I'm gonna do is I'm simply gonna measure. Just follow me for a second. I'm gonna measure from here to this wall. And I got 3'4" 4.5", if you guys can see that. Okay, if I zoom in, it doesn't get any bigger, but it says 3'4" 4.5". So just on a little scrap piece of paper, I'm going to write down 3'4" 4.5". Now your guys' example is going to be a little bit different. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to measure the width of the two bowls. And that says 3'3". Okay. Now, reason why I grabbed that information, I'm going to grab this little sync button. If I look over here in the properties palette, what this tells me here is it says sync location to wall 6 inches. Well, that's saying from here to here is 6 inches. Okay, I'm good with that. Sync opening width, and then it says sync location. Well, sync location is actually off of this line. So I measured mine at 3'4.5". So I'm going to type in 3'4.5 inches. And we should see that that did shift over. Then it's going to say sink opening width. And I've got 3'3". And you'll see that that sink is going to widen up. Okay? You guys all catch that? So a little bit of a mathematical approach. Normally there's like little drag boxes that you can just drag them over. For some reason they weren't showing up, so I had to just do it through this property editor. It's not a big deal. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move this sink back into place, and I'm just going to say align to this line, and I want that to be lined up with that. And now if I look at this thing in 3D, my sink looks beautiful. It's there. I have this little like odd gap that I got to fill with something. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this thing and I'm going to go, well, how wide is that gap? So I'm going to grab my little measure tool again. And I'm going to come across here and I'm going to go, all right, well, it's 9 inches. And actually that's perfect because believe it or not, cabinets are sold in 3-inch increments, okay, which is really good information for you guys to know. Fillers are typically 3 inches, which is a little piece of like blank panel that has no like door or drawer. 6 inches are typically a double filler. It's just not wide enough to get a door on there. Now, when you get into like custom cabinetry, they do have some 6-inch things that you can like slide out, and it would be like a really narrow spice drawer. It's really, to be honest with you, when you start talking about a 6-inch cabinet, it's really high end and it's really custom and it's really, really expensive. Okay, so the 3 to 6 inch range, you typically can't do anything with. Okay. Once you hit 9 inches, which happens to be exactly what I have, 9 inches is kind of that first cabinet that you can buy. And typically where you see them is to the left and right of a stove. where people put all of their like cookie sheets, right? If you guys can think about that really narrow cabinet that's typically on the left or right hand of the stove, and it's just enough to basically slide in cookie sheets and like pizza pans and things like that, and they stay vertical and they don't lay down inside the cabinet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pop in another cabinet here, and I'm going to go back up to architecture, go back up to components, click on the actual component, go to load. Actually, let me look and see if I already have something. So I have a single. So let's go back to our single door cabinet so I can kind of scroll through here and find my cabinets. Here's my base cabinet, single door. The smallest one that they offer in there is a 12-incher. I'm going to go ahead and grab a 12. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop that in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit edit type. I'm going to see if we can make this a 9-inch. So I'm going to say duplicate. And quite simply, I'm just going to take this and say 9 inches. All right. Then it's got some parameters here, but the parameter I'm mostly concerned with is width. And I'm just going to simply say 9 inches. And I'm going to look at this thing in 3D. And I'm going to see that I was able to successfully edit that cabinet to make it a 9-inch cabinet. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to move this thing. And again, from that corner to that corner there. And let's go back to 3D, make sure that we got it all right. And that looks good to me, except I would flip the door the other way, in all honesty. I just think it's backwards. And it's in that case, it's not really an opinion. You normally would not want to like have it. You'd want it opening up against the wall, right? So you can see there which side I have my cabinet handle. It would open towards the wall. All right, so now let's start progressing down this side. And so I'm going to come into here and I'm going to say, well, I got something that I need to put here. I need to put a stove. So I'm going to come back up to components. I'm going to come back up to load family. And now I got to back up a little bit. I don't want a sink. I don't want a urinal. I don't want a toilet. I'm backing up again. Backing up again. Plumbing. Nope, I definitely don't want to be in plumbing. So I'm backing up again. And I'm back to my Imperial items. So then I got to look at this and start figuring out where do I think I'm going to find a stove, which category. And so as I kind of scroll through here, I've got mechanical, which might fit. And let's keep rolling down here. We got plumbing, setting, site, structural. We definitely don't want structure. So let's go into, I just don't feel like it should be in mechanical, but I could be wrong. And I'm not. Let's see. Caseworks, columns, conduit, detail items, doors, duct, electrical? Nope. MEP? Nope. Bear with me, guys. I just got to find. If anybody knows, feel free to yell it out. Where the looking for stoves and like refrigerators. You would think it would be under a section called appliances, but it is not. So furniture systems, lighting, mass, mechanical, openings. Might be under specialty equipment. Bear with me, guys. I will find it. It's in here somewhere. I checked there already, actually. Huh. No, they're all MEP. Casework, columns, conduit, curtain walls, door, duct, electrical. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so it was under specialty equipment, domestic, and then high end. And there is like a little kitchenette too. It's already pre-built with everything. So that's a good spot to start if you want that. But anyway, so I'm going to come in here and grab whoever said that. Thank you, because I was struggling. Mahar, thank you. So I'm going to come into oven. And I can look at this, and this has, these are like wall ovens. Ranges are going to be like more of the type that you're probably used to. These are cooktop ranges. 36 inches is a little wide, to be quite honest with you. And I guess part of the reason why is because I'm in quote unquote high end. I was just trying to see if they had quite simply a, and they don't. They've got a range that's 36 inches wide. And again, these are high end. I don't know where the standards are, but I'm going to go ahead and just grab that just for fun. And I'm going to pop this in. And again, there is a rotate situation that you have to do with this one. Highlight it, hit the rotate button, grab it, rotate it 90 degrees. And then again, I'm going to move this. So I'm going to use my move command from that corner to that corner. And I'm out past my wall, but for example, I don't really care. I'm just going to pull the wall down. Just going to pull the wall down. Okay. Now, I do have a boo-boo here. I have my countertop crossing over through my range. It probably is, yeah, it does show. Okay, so I do have that incorrect. And again, that's a simple fix. I'm just going to click on my countertop, grab my little pull line, and I'm actually just going to pull that back until it lines up with the edge of my range. And now you'll see here, I have my beautiful, beautiful high-end, very, very small kitchenette designed with a $4,000 range, right? So we would never actually do this, but it is what it is. And then the last thing I want to just demo, and I'm not going to take much more time because I think you guys got it by now. I'm going to go with the load family. I'm going to go back to casework, and I'm going to actually do the wall cabinet. And so I've got upper, and so this one here is a corner, and here's another corner. Can we place a door on our lower floor, just like Mahar? Yeah, you can do that out the front, but it can't be on the same. It can't be on the ends that have the holes. All right, so I'm going to grab this corner cabinet, and quite simply, I'm not going to save this right now. I'm just going to place it along this. Actually, I'm just going to place it out here and just kind of get it in place. And let's look at it in 3D. You can see here I'm starting to get my wall cabinets, and I would just continue putting wall cabinets down just like that. Just go in and grab another one and start placing it along the wall. Any questions? And I know we had a fire delay there, so any questions on this, or do you guys all feel comfortable? Okay, you want to hold that for just a minute, and then we'll come back to that? I just want to make sure nobody in here has any questions about putting in kitchens and casework. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I will get the